Horizon. So today we pushed a couple of articles that we were going to talk about today, specifically because Horizon Forbidden West was revealed today, and we got to see some gameplay footage of that, and we are going to talk about it. I sent the video to the everybody so everybody could get an idea of what it's looking like. It was fucking stunning. I don't think there was too much of a change to the core gameplay of what Horizon is, but I was more amazed at the fucking graphics and how fluid it was and detailed it was, extra little features and stuff like that. That was amazing. So and of course the story. I was really really fascinated by the story of the first game. So for the second one to get deeper into that kind of stuff was something that I'm excited for. Uh, that's pretty much it. Randy, what'd you think of the trailer or the gameplay
Uh,
footage?
Hello. All
Yeah,
right. It was neat, I guess.
I guess.
I
I
didn't
knew you were
play
gonna
the
say
first
that.
one. Yeah, I didn't play the first one, so I don't really have like an opinion on how it is. It looks pretty. That
Yeah.
that's cool, I suppose. I feel like I would really need to play the first one to like see if I'd be into the second one, because the monsters did look dinosaurs. I mean, Dynamech, whatever the fuck. They look intriguing. The raptor one that had like the two kind of like chainsaws on like the lower jaw,
Yeah.
that looked absolutely fucking adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah, because it was like it was colorful and looked doofy as hell, and it's like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to pet it. It looked like Kevin from Up, the
Kevin.
snipe,
Kevin?
the bird from Up.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was about
yeah,
to say
yeah, yeah,
Kevin's
yeah,
the
yeah.
Yeah,
bird.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kevin's the bird. Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
it,
Yeah.
it looks very vibrant, and I think that's like it, as eye catching as it is. It would still have to come down for what is it, for like the gameplay and the story itself.
So that's what
Because
I was gonna mention. So if you haven't played the first one, and you're iffy about the second because you haven't played the first one, I would really suggest to play the first one, if not for the gameplay, because it's still somewhat not exactly generic, but it pulls from a lot of games you've already played before. But the story is very unique. It's very much its own thing, which I think you would like a lot more than anything else in the game.
okay, so well, I'll take your word for it. As long as you're not like recommending fucking Uncharted to me, then I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do it.
What if it's
Well,
Uncharted?
no, because yeah,
If
Uncharted
the
is
second
is the
game
is
is
the
basically the
generic.
first game,
Uncharted is the generic treasure hunting, crazy adventure game. It's the same beat every single game. That's completely different. This game, Horizon, if it focuses a lot on like a post-apocalyptic stuff and why these robots are there, why there is a tribal civilization, uh, why the world is the way it is. It was a bit unexpected on how they explain all that stuff, and it goes in very good detail on how or and why that happens in the first place too. So, yeah, I would really suggest playing that first one.
okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
I have to
the
definitely do
reasoning
that then.
behind all of it, just I'm not gonna say spoil it for me, but does it make sense?
Yes,
Okay, cool, that's it.
absolutely.
Oh, done. I'll do it.
Kevin, what
Just
about you?
let me finish Nier first,
Yeah, go ahead.
and then possibly Automata, and then we'll
Oh,
get to that.
oh, you're gonna go to Automata too?
Oh hell, of course, dude. The fuck?
Jesus. Kevin, what do you think
O-
of the gameplay?
Okay, okay. You really want to know what I think about the gameplay?
Yeah. Wow.
Get a load of this guy.
He just signed off. If anybody's just listening to the audio.
Why? I never played it. It
uh,
was one of those games that it was so everybody was talking about it and it looked
yeah.
so good, but then I was like, I didn't like those type of games, and I still don't now.
What type
It
of
looks
games?
like
Survival crafting, I'm assuming.
survival crafting.
Hmm.
It's not my thing. I never found them interesting. And then
Now I gotta go
I
in deeper with that though. What are you considering survival crafting? Because although there is crafting in the game, I wouldn't call it a survival game.
no, not like survival crafting, like crafting in the aspect of how they do it, like in Tomb Raider, like can you craft
Yes.
arrows?
Yes.
So that was the concept I had when I
Okay.
was like, oh, it's. I'm not saying like I was saying like, oh, it's like Tomb Raider just with like robot dinosaurs. It was just like a. I was like, oh, this crafting system. Oh, they came out
Yeah.
with Tomb Raider. I was like, if I play it, I'd play it. But everybody playing it kind of ruined the story for me because everybody was talking about the story while like I never played the game. And then I was like, I'm just not gonna play it now because it's to the point that I don't want to play it, be sport and know what's going on. Like I want to be like lost in it, like lost in the game as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
the game looks amazing. I'm not saying the game looks bad. It was just the story got spoiled for me. So I was like, well, I can't
Now,
play it.
without any spoilers, because I was gonna say for Randy, if anything, like if you don't want to go through the game, because I gotta understand if the game itself, like the mechanics and such, is not for you. So maybe just YouTube the entire story to try to like get caught up with it, and then maybe try the second one. But for Kevin, without spoilers, what was it about it that like did the story not interest you at all? Like you said, it was
It-
spoiled for you, so you just didn't want to like
yeah,
continue on with it.
yeah, like it was the concept of not knowing why these robots or creatures, because you end up finding out they're the creatures or robots, depending on whatever you want to use them on. Why they're there
The
and like
just call them Zoids. How about
yeah, no, don't do that because I love Zoids. All right, so the Zoids
I
from
call them
Battle Legend,
Zords.
Zords,
Zords works too.
Zords. Like I I like the idea of like what they're doing, but for me, I it couldn't like I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I couldn't care less.
Hmm.
Like I've seen so many robot things that would come out that year, and like at that year, the same year that Horizon came out, I believe Marvel Infinite came out, and I was still in like
Oh man,
I'm still in like
you're
Marvel's
missing
Capcom?
you're missing the game that killed. I wouldn't say killed Horizon, but overshadowed Horizon by a lot, which is Breath of the Wild.
oh, I played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that game came out the same day.
I know, but I bought Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
I didn't pay attention to Horizon
of
because
course.
I was so hooked to Switch that I enjoyed it. I love Breath of the Wild, and I was like, I like I like it, but I'm playing Breath of the Wild, so I'll get to it eventually. And then what is it like 3 years pass or a year and a half or 2 years pass, and I still haven't played the game. And like now that I find out that this is happening, I was like, oh, there was a second part, man.
Well,
Can't be me.
the game did end with a cliffhanger. Like there was still
Yeah.
closure for the main story to explain like
Mhm.
the world and everything, but there was still a
Mhm.
cliffhanger of like how it could continue, which was interesting.
Of
Man, this is
course.
disappointing. You guys aren't excited about it that like I am. Like I really am, and it's not really because of the gameplay, because the gameplay is pretty much like you said. It's a lot like other stuff. It's like a bit of
Mhm.
the crafting system. It's a bit of just collecting a bunch of shit so you can make more stuff. But it was a story for me that got me. That's what I really liked about it.
So watch the story, and try to catch up.
Yeah,
I think
yeah, just do
I
that.
think because I haven't played it and I was already told it. I'd rather just watch somebody play the game than play it
Hmm.
myself, because I don't want to be like, oh, the story is bad for me or whatever, and then take like my negative output as like the end all be all. Like I would rather watch somebody play it, explain like the game or whatever, and then enjoy that with them rather than just shit on the game because of like just cause, you know what I mean? I like
Yeah,
giving a game a fair chance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Danny.
I think I'm not too thrilled about it either, but only because I played the game. I played the first game and I liked it, but this
Mhm.
to me just feels like Horizon 1.5.
You said that before,
Um,
yeah.
Mm.
it just it's gonna elaborate on the story, which is cool because that the story was fun and how they put everything together and the robots and this
Mhm.
uh, apocalyptic world or whatever. It was good,
Mhm.
and you do want to know more. But this game looks exactly like it plays like the first one. It looks exactly like the first one. Everything looked. The mechanic of that boss fight that they showed with that elephant, it was the same fucking mechanic that you fight every fucking big boss in that game. You blow
Mhm.
some pieces off of them, you pick up the gun that falls off of them, you shoot the weak points, and then you end it in yeah, it looks great. They slapped a nice coat of paint on it, but it's still the same fucking game.
You you
And
know when you said
and
when you Sorry for cutting you off, Danny. You know, as soon as you said cut piece off and use it as a weapon, I immediately thought of Monster Hunter. I was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
fucking Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
Honestly, with that, I played both of those at the same time. I
that
played the
is a good
Monster Hunter and I
comparison.
played that, and they fucking looked exactly the same. And it was very
Mm,
hard. Like I think I stopped playing Horizon to play Monster Hunter because I was a little late
mhm,
on it, and
mhm,
then playing Monster Hunter just made me want to finish Horizon more type of thing because it just reminded me so much of it. And again,
mhm,
the first game had a lot of fun things, the tracking and all that, and the way you do the hunts and the way you have to like really think about how you hunt these people. It's just the monsters. It's really fun, but this doesn't look like it's anything different and kind of disappointing. It looks like it's
mhm.
going to be the same thing. I mean, and again, if they don't know that teaser, who knows what they do when they get put on a new world, it might be completely different. But I feel like it's going to be that much different for some reason.
Hmm.
You
So
know what I'm actually kind of fearing? That it's gonna be a Last of Us Part Two kind of situation,
What do you mean?
yes,
where it's like the first game did really well, and they were like kind of striving off the success of it. Like,
yes,
it, does it feel like there's a need for a sequel for Horizon?
Well,
Honestly,
okay. To
because realistically speaking, Last of Us, it did end on a cliffhanger as well, but it ended at a really good cliffhanger where it didn't need a part two at all. So does Horizon need the second part,
so
or
to
is it kind of just
answer
like a nice tack on?
the comment for you and for Danny's thing. So the way that it ended in part one, yes, it does need a second part. Because of the way that it left the cliffhanger. But to also, you guys, both of you guys are absolutely right because Danny is saying that this Horizon is more of a 1.5, which I can't agree with because so far what we've seen, it doesn't look like there's too much that's new aside from a new fresh paint. It's better graphics. Is pretty much it. It's still the same platforming. There's still the same hunting. There's still the same everything that we've seen so far. So unless they're bringing in a little bit of something new to the game mechanics itself, not just the story, because the story may be something that, like for example, Kevin is not really that interested in. It's the gameplay for him. So if they're not bringing enough gameplay for it, it really is just a 1.5, and there was no need to make this game.
mm. I feel like if it's personally, it's gonna give me the same feel of I could watch somebody play that. It's not a walking simulator, but if the story is that
Far
good
from
that it makes you want to play, like yeah, it's not the walking simulator. But if the story overshadows the game, then I'm like, well, I could do what Danny was talking about last week, and he was like, I could just watch the movie.
Yeah.
I could watch the movie of the game and just watch it and enjoy that. But I feel I feel like it's a game that you would want to play. Like you guys played Near. I've never played Near. I still haven't. And I want to play the game. But this game is like I can watch the story and I can be like, it's just not doing it for me. Like I don't want to give an opinion because I personally just don't like the story of robots and like them being whatever. Like I was like, I've seen Transformers. I've seen every robot movie that came out and it was like a pet or whatever or a monster. And I was like, I've been there, done that. But I'm like, if the story is good, I'll give it a try. Like because I want to at least play the first one and be like, all right, I didn't like it. I don't like the story. I'll give it like 35 hours. I'm like, it's all right. I tried it. It's just the story. But the breaking pieces and everything, I was like, if it's Monster Hunter, I was like, I'm really not gonna like the gameplay. The
Yeah.
story's gonna have to hook me in the first, I would say, 2-3 hours max, because then I'll
again,
lose interest very fast.
the gameplay is really well done. I mean, there's no shitting on the gameplay of the first one.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's really well done. I mean, actually playing that game, it blows Monster Hunter and all those fucking games out of the water. Like I said,
Of
it made
course.
me
Excuse me.
playing out
Hold on.
loud. It
Excuse
made
me.
me want to.
Excuse me. What?
Yeah, fuck
Hold
that.
on. What?
Fuck
Huh?
that game.
What?
It
What?
blew it out of
Fuck
the
Final
water.
Fantasy.
Hold
It
on, hold
blew.
on, hold on. Come on.
Whoa! Be respectful. Be respectful.
Well, again, I'm also talking about World, the one you didn't like.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Oh
Listen,
yeah.
But
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's the one that me and Danny played the most.
yeah,
For Danny, kind of
World.
got into Monster Hunter World. Yeah.
I
yeah.
feel like Sorry, yeah, I'll let you finish. I'll finish afterwards.
But the gameplay is solid, and if anybody who plays is gonna seem like the gameplay, because they do everything kind of smart. They do those hunts really smart, really fun. The way they do all you getting your weapons and getting your ammo and armor and like the RPG element of getting badass armor is just it's really well done. And then to tie that in, there's a great story, which a lot of times you don't get hand in hand. But the problem is that I think the sequel will be just more of exactly the same, which I hate when sequels do that. I absolutely hate when sequels are just the same game, part two. Like that drives me. I mean, 1.5. That drives me nuts.
I like sequels sometimes, not thirds. Trilogies is not my thing. Sequels are good because you sometimes get a good conclusion. You know what I mean? Like a good conclusion for a game. Not always, but this game I felt like it did need a sequel on how it ended, how the story like led up to everything that happened. I felt like it did need a sequel, like just for the conclusion's sake. But I hope it's not like some outlandish unnecessary thing that nobody really cared, like nobody's like, oh, like everybody does the little, they suck their teeth, like I was like, I really just spent like $60 on this to get disappointed or whatever. Like I hope that the ending is really like fucking AAA movie title good, like nobody expects it, and then like hopefully they don't do a trilogy. Like that.
I think they will. Aloy has become has honestly become very iconic. Aside from, regardless of how you like the game or not, like Aloy is a big franchise face now. So I would think they would at the very least make it a trilogy and come out with a third game after Forbidden West.
But then you think part 3 would be part 2? I mean, part actually 2.0?
An actual part. I would hope so, because and the reason why I would say yes is because Forbidden West is coming so early into the PS5 cycle. By the time the third game comes out, the developers will learn to use the technology a lot more and use it to their advantage. So I would hope anyways that the third game they will come out with some advanced stuff and new gameplay mechanics and things like that to kind of really like ramp up the gameplay.
Got you. But there's a positive I can say. I like the alligator in the trailer. I mean the demo. I was about to say, there's a fucking alligator in this thing. Like, what happened?
Yeah,
But
there's quite a few cool stuff in the first game. Like there was giant alligators and birds, like these like fucking huge ass birds and stuff. And
there was like giraffes, right?
yeah, there was these giant giraffes in there. God, the T-Rexes, yeah, the raptors. You had like antelope and like wolves and stuff, kind of in a way. Yeah, it was cool. And now they got some new stuff coming out. They even have. I never got to play the DLC, which was like I think it was an ice environment or something like that.
World.
Yeah, so I never got to play that one and see all the new creatures that they introduced.
All right, so I'll definitely give it a try. I mean, I got nothing else to do.
If anything, you could watch me play it.
Are you gonna play it?
Horizon, yeah, I'm down to do it.
Will this be the first game you stream?
Probably not, but I mean.
All right.
If you do it on PC, we share in Parsec. I'm gonna just watch you
right.
do it. It's my turn. It's my turn.
Or why not?